For new devices, there are two ways to bring those devices into Azure Active Directory and manage them through Intune for Education. Provisioning packages using programs like Setup School PC and Windows Configuration Designer are one solution. However, in this short video, we will talk about how to enroll devices using Autopilot. This video is meant for partners, so we will be looking at Partner Center as the solution for registering devices in Autopilot. Before we look at the way a partner would register devices in Autopilot, let's look at what a customer would do in Microsoft Endpoint Manager. In Microsoft Endpoint Manager, they would select Devices, Windows Enrollment, and then scroll down to Devices in the Autopilot program. Here, an end user, an IT director at a school, could upload devices via CSV file. To upload devices in this fashion, the customer would need the hardware hash for each device. In addition to uploading devices in the Microsoft Endpoint Management Center, you can go and configure deployment profiles for Autopilot joined devices. Here we're going in and creating a deployment profile named Demo. We're making it a user-driven Autopilot deployment, meaning that it will rely on a user with an Azure Active Directory credential to log into the Windows 10 device. We can also go through and configure UBI settings, as well as apply a name template. For this, we're naming it Demo, followed by the serial number of the device. Therefore, all devices targeted with this deployment profile will follow that naming convention. Now we target it to the All Devices group and select Next. Now we can review our deployment profile and see which devices are targeted, and if satisfied, select Create. Now let's take a look at how partners register Autopilot devices in Partner Center. In order to register devices in Partner Center, the partner needs to be a Microsoft CSP, Cloud Service Provider. As a CSP, the partner sends a link to the customer asking for authorization or consent to register devices or act on behalf of the customer. This does not include admin rights. The customer receives that email, and as long as they're a global administrator, they can go in and approve that request. Once the request is approved, the partner can now go in and begin to upload devices on behalf of the customer. Partners can do this either through Partner Center or developing their own solution using the Partner Center API. Now let's take a look at Partner Center. What we are seeing is the Partner Center welcome screen after selecting the CSP option. On the left, you see Overview, Customers, Selling, Support, Billing, Azure Spending, and Analyze. In the center, you see some highlights and general reports. We are going to dive in to Customers. In the Customers pane of Partner Center, you'll see a list of all customers you already have an established relationship with. However, if you do not see that customer, you can select the button to request a reseller relationship. If this is a brand new customer and has no other records in place, you would select the Add Customer button. In most cases, you're going to select Request a Reseller Relationship. When you select Request Relationship, you'll be provided a pop-up window that gives you email text. At the very top, you see a checkbox on whether or not you seek administrative privileges with this customer. To register Autopilot devices, you do not need admin access. Therefore, it's recommended to uncheck this box. with the box unchecked, copy the email text provided and paste it into your own email solution and email it out to your customer. This avoids any confusion on who's sending the email and what the request is. With a relationship established with the customer, you can select that customer, and this brings you into a window where you are able to see all actions that you can take, from sales to history, but more importantly, devices. Inside of devices is where we can upload Autopilot devices, as well as add Autopilot deployment profiles. When adding devices, you see that you have multiple options that were not available to the customer. For instance, now you can use something called a TUPLE, which is a combination of the manufacturer, device model, and device serial number. You can also use the Windows PKID, known as the Windows Product Key ID. At the bottom of the page, there is an example or sample CSV file that you can download and enter your own data, and then upload it and select Save. Here is what the example CSV looks like. When uploading using the example CSV, make sure to delete rows 2 and beyond in order to avoid any confusion or errors. We have now seen how customers and partners register Autopilot devices. This is what it looks like for the customer when they log into an Autopilot joined device. They power it on through its UB state and connect it to the internet. Once connected to the internet, the device contacts Azure Active Directory and recognizes that it is registered to that customer. You'll see that a custom welcome screen with the school's logo opens at the top. This school is using Microsoft Authenticator for greater security protection, so a pop-up occurred there. And everything is going as planned. Windows is configuring itself. And we'll see on the enrollment status page that the device has been prepared. Security policies are being applied, certificates are being applied, and apps are currently being installed. The process is now complete, and the end user will now be able to log into their device and begin their work. With Autopilot, there are two deployment methods, user-driven and self-deploy. User-driven relies on a user signing in. Self-deploy does not rely on a user and instead automatically deploys itself once connected to an internet source. Additionally, for partners, we have a third option, which is Autopilot White Glove, which is the ability for the partner to do the Autopilot registration and the initial boot inside of a deployment center before sending to the customer. So when the customer receives the device, it's a much faster login process to get up and going. Both the provisioning, package process, and Autopilot achieve the end goal of bringing your Windows 10 device into Azure Active Directory and Intune. Once the device is enrolled in Intune, the IT leader can go into Intune for Education and begin applying policies and deploying applications wherever the device is.